k.d. here with an Unreal Engine 4 tutorial about saving and loading. I will try to keep this tutorial as short and as on point as possible. If you want to know more about saving and loading, if you want to have more insight and knowledge, I can recommend you a stream I made a couple of days ago. It's stream number 004 on my channel. It has also save and load in the name, so it should be easy to find. This tutorial will have two parts. The first part is how can you save your game in one slot and in one slot only. And the second part will be how can I save my game in different slots so the player can set up different save files for security and so on, or he can make different playthroughs on the same time. I personally did a lot of testing with saving and loading. I watched a lot of tutorials, and the method I will show you here is the one I like the most, and I personally think it's the best suited for my project. That doesn't mean that there are not different methods that maybe are better suited for your project. What I like with this method is it's extremely dynamic. You can set up autosaves without problems. You can even set it up so you can save every time a variable changes, you save this variable separately, or you can make checkpoints and so on. It takes a little bit longer to set it up, so maybe for very simple save files like only saving high score, it's maybe not the best suited one. The method wasn't invented by me. The problem is I couldn't find the right tutorial anymore where I got the idea for this method. If I find in the future this tutorial, I will of course put it in the description and credit the person who made it. The idea of this tutorial is to have an act class blueprint that does all that is the central for all saving and loading and so on. We all do that by referencing to this blueprint. So for that we have to create two blueprint classes. The first one is our act blueprint. I call this save and load underscore blueprint. We will use this blueprint a lot, so choose a name you remember. We do a second blueprint class that will we go here down here under all class, and we press and save, and then we should here our save game object or save game blueprint. I will call this simple save blueprint. I will open this one here to show you. That's how it looks. It has just an event graph we probably won't use, and here you can add as many variables as you want. I will add one to show you later on how we can get back to this one. Always compile and save after you added a variable. And here you can add as many variables as you want. In many tutorials you see that people will recommend you, instead of using simple variables, use arrays. I personally don't like this version. Maybe arrays are useful if you have more a checkpoint system and you save always the same variables. If you always have different variables that change and you want to save for only one variable in this array changes and you want to save it, I personally think it's much simpler and even faster to just save every variable, even if this sounds like annoying. But I told you it's easy to set up, but thanks to that it's very dynamic. That's in the end you have to know it. Do you want to use an array or simple variables? Another disadvantage with arrays is you can only in one array you can only put the same variable type into it, so you can't put in here a boolean or anything else, or if you don't know what a boolean is, just a different colors. You can only use this blue one. So much to that. That's actually all we do here. Every variable we want to save we put in here, nowhere else, because we can always get it from here again. I will open up save and load blueprint. This is the more important one. So very important is we have to put our save and load blueprint in every map we have in the game, because we always reference this blueprint, so we need to have it in the map, otherwise you will get an error message. If you get an error message, that then it's probably because it couldn't find the save and load blueprint, and that's because it didn't put it into the map. That's the most important part. This is our core for saving. If you put nothing in the viewport, so you don't have to be worry about if you see this sphere or anything like that, everything is invisible. We go to the event graph, we can delete all these events here. We go to variables, we add two variables. The first one is a reference to our save blueprint, so we have to change here our type to object types. Actually, it's even easier if we type in the name we gave our blueprint, save blueprint. So now we have a reference to our save blueprint. If we compile this, then we see save blueprint here. I add another variable, I call this slot name, and this is a string, purple one, and I will compile this again, and now I will give this one here a name like save 01 or something like that. Now we will create a custom event. If you don't know how to get this menu here, just press the right mouse button on the event graph. Then you can press in here custom, so we can find it easier, custom event. The first one is create a save. The first thing we do here is get the command does save game exist. I will tell you in a moment why we do that. We see there is a reference to our slot. We get here a branch command, and we connect this one together. So what does that mean? The game will check as soon as this event starts, does a save game exist? If there is already a save game, you can do whatever you want here. You can load it, or you can delete it and create a new one, whatever you want to do. Or you can show you that. It's extremely simple to delete game in slot, and then you again just reference the slot name. Now I have to give you a warning here. That means every time the player presses on the button that starts this event, like start new game or so in the start menu or anything like that, he will override delete your game in this slot. So maybe instead of delete game in slot, you want to open up a different UI or something like that with the question, this will overwrite your save game, are you sure you want to do that, or anything like that. Just as a warning, I show you that here, but maybe you want to do it different just to be sure that the player doesn't overwrite the save every time. So we go from false to if there is no save game in this slot, we want to create one. So let's press create save. game object. We have a little bit of different command here. Here we choose again our save blueprint. Then here we have to take our save blueprint reference, we set it, and we connect everything together. If you want to overwrite your save file, then you can go back here. So you delete it and then you create a new one. Again, I warn you again, if you do it like this, that the player will overwrite his save without any warning. In my stream I will show you how you can do it so he gets a warning first. Don't give me, if you do it like this, and people will complain because they always overwrite your save. I warned you, it's not my fault. Then here we create a second custom event. Here I call it save. We get the command save game to slot. It's actually very easy because Unreal Engine gives us all these tools, and that really makes it easy. We get our save blueprint here, and we get our slot name here. It shouldn't be too hard to connect this. You have the color code, so you also could have just taken here, but I wanted and put it in here. That would have worked too. I just didn't want to do it so you don't get confused. That's everything we need here. So every time this event plays, we save the game, and that's what we want here when we create the save. First thing we want to do is actually reference our second event here, the save. Why? Because we are often in a start menu. The start menu is maybe on a separate map or anything like that. We start the menu there and we open up, we start a new game there and we open up a new map. And then when we don't save it, we immediately lose it. And then of course our third custom event will be loading. Just call this load. Should be fine. This one is a little bit more complicated. Load game from slot. So first it seems quite straightforward again. However, we now need from here cast to save blueprint here, sac, and then we need our save blueprint reference. Ta-da! And that's all we have to do. Just these three commands. What we can do now is, as example, if we open the level blueprint here and every time this map opens up, as example, we get this command here, all actors of a class. This will be probably the most used command you have or function. So remember this one here. And then we get our save and load blueprint in here. And from here, just press in get a copy. And now what we can do is just load this example. So for the first, that didn't work, and that's good that it didn't work. Don't forget to compile and save. Now we can get our load event, and now every time this map opens up, we first load the game. What we now also can do, we can get our reference to our safe blueprint. Here we can get our test variable, we can get it and use it for something, or we can set a different variable, for example 10, and then and so on, and we can get here every variable. I closed it, I'm sorry about that. Every variable we put in here we can get from there. So even if you have hundreds of variables you want to save, and maybe if you make a bigger project that is not even far away from the truth, you can get it like this. That's why I say this is absolutely the most important function you have. Get all actors of a class, and then you reference your safe blueprint. Also, if you make another actor with other variables in it or other events in it, you always will need this one here. What we can do now here from here on is just save. And that's why I said we have to set it up. We have to set up the variables, we have to set up these events, but after that you just have to get this function here, and then you can anytime load your game, anytime save your game, anytime you want. I change a variable, I save. I reach a checkpoint, I save. Autosave after 5 minutes, automatically save the game, whatever you want to do. That's why I like this method. So if you of course now want to create a save file, you have to create a widget, and how you do that I will show you in the second part, because in the second part I will do a little bit more in depth. So this is the end of this video. I will show you the second part in a different video. You see, saving is not that difficult in Unreal Engine 4 thanks to this function they already prepared for us, and we just have to remember the name, and we have to think about a couple of different things. Now the second part will be much more in depth. I think now I showed you how you can really create a very fast save and load system, and in the second part I will show you a little bit more. I won't only show you how you can save and load, I will also show you how you can create a widget where you can create a save file, load a save file, and so on. And I will also prove to you that the saving will work. The second part will, however, not be as simple as that, because we don't only save in one slot, we will save in different slots, so the player can go through different playthroughs on the same time, or he can save his playthrough on two different slots, so he has always a safety save or a backup save there. So because it takes a little bit longer, if there is not popping up a window with a connection to the second part, then I'm still working on it. Please be a little bit patient, it will come, trust me. And thank you for watching, and I hope you will watch the second part too, because that will be a little bit more in depth. I think that's maybe needed absolutely if you're a beginner.